Okay, this is going to be my number one hack or just recommendation for those of you who do not want to have to pay for your down payment and your closing costs during a home purchase transaction. If we haven't met, my name is Chelsea Winstead. I'm a home financing strategist and a mortgage broker. I help hundreds of people on this app every single month create a plan and a strategy to be able to move forward with purchasing a home. This is something that I don't think a lot of people realize is possible, but I want to explain how this is most effectively done. So first thing to know, when you buy a home, there's two buckets of cost, okay? There's gonna be your down payment requirement. That's gonna depend on the loan that you were doing. Also, this depends on if you wanna do minimum down, if you wanna put more down, like that's its own kind of conversation category bucket, down payment. Your second category is gonna be your closing costs. So there's four buckets that this falls into. This is gonna be like the lender, what they charge to do your specific loan. This is going to include things like your closing attorney fees, title search fees, all that good stuff. This is going to include like recordings, taxes, things that are filed with the government. And the fourth piece of the puzzle is going to be your prepaids, funding your escrow account, all that stuff. I can do a whole other video on the nitty gritty of that, but that's its own bucket. That in and of itself can be 2 to 3% of the purchase price of your home on its own. And so what a lot of people aren't expecting is when you do the math and you Google like how much do I need for a down payment, it's going to tell you if you do a conventional loan and you're a first-time home buyer, the minimum down is 3% of the purchase price. And you go, okay, cool, 3% of the purchase price. Great. And then all of a sudden you get whopped with the closing cost on top of that and you're like, holy shit, this is like way too much money, and you're not expecting it, right? So what I want to explain is how I see a lot of my clients get those costs covered by the seller of the home that they purchase. So here's the reality. So I'm licensed all over the country. I do have a kind of a big primary focus on the Southeast in the US. I am licensed also in Montana, Texas, California. I've got quite a few states on the West Coast as well, but Southeast is really my bread and butter. I strategize and I do this privately with all of my clients. We do a deep dive into your market, what's going on. But here's the big thing to know. The longer a home sits on the market, the more opportunity you have for them to help pay for those closing costs. So that second bucket of fees. Now, a couple notes. Depending on the loan type that you are using to purchase your home, there's going to be a max. You can get almost all of your closing cost paid for by the seller based on those percentages. And a lot of people don't realize this. So I would almost say 95% of the time when my clients and I are running numbers and you have the choice to either go in on a purchase price and lower the purchase price and then get no seller credit. Because here's the thing, a seller is only going to take a certain amount of a hit, right? They're probably not going to accept a lowball offer and pay for your closing costs. They're not going to do both.